Welcome to NBA
Starting lineup. The long-awaited and highly anticipated Hasbro starting lineup is finally available for pre-order on Hasbro Pulse. And
Wow, bro.
yeah, there's a lot to unpack here. Hello, everyone. My name is Paige, and welcome to the Scouting Report for the NBA starting lineup series. How many of these segments you gonna make up, man? As many as I damn well please. So the official pre-order went up for these 8 figures today, January 2nd at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on HasbroPost.com. Now, the day prior, they slowly leaked out initial figures that were going to be included in Wave 1. And originally, I thought the line was going to be comprised mainly of 90s characters, but it seems like the first wave is going to consist of current NBA stars. The list consists of the King, Los Angeles Lakers small forward,
from St. Vincent, St. Mary's High School,
Golden State Warriors sharpshooter shooting guard, Steph Curry, say that 5 times fast, Memphis's high-flying highlight reel point guard, Demetrius Ja Morant, the Greek freak center, Giannis
Whatever you got, just say, it's Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Mavs swingman small forward and shooting guard, Luka Doncic, Phillies Mr. Trust the Process, Joel Hans Embiid, Atlanta's point guard sensation, Trae Young, and then Celtics small forward Jason Tatum. Now, originally during the official tease and advertisements for this line, I saw somewhere that they were going to be focusing on 90s characters. Now, I'm not sure where I saw it, but I thought it was an official capacity, but it looks like they're going to be sticking to more of the current roster of NBA stars. That's not to say that they won't be doing 90s characters, because in one of the tease silhouettes they had, I could have swore that I saw a shadow of Michael Jordan. I could be wrong. Maybe it's Air Morris. But for now, these are the 8 figures that they'll be giving us in Wave 1, which has an estimated release date of this year, December 2022. Now, right off the bat, I think the first major talking point that's going to be discussed, currently being discussed, and will be discussed about this line is the price point. This wave's price point is actually a little bit more than I thought it would be. Is it justified? That's going to be completely up to the buyer. But the pre-order just went up. A couple of hours have passed, and the main feedback that I can see from the groups as well as on Hasbro's official website is that the price point is just way too high. And with the recent HasLab offering and then this also releasing possibly in December, I think Hasbro needs to kind of reevaluate the pricing system. I thought personally that these would be priced out about $35-40, maybe, just because of the price increase that Marvel Legends has had over the last year. Now, the price point for each one of these figures in Wave 1 is going to be $49.99. That is before taxes and shipping. Now, if you decide to pick up the whole wave, the grand total for me was $432.91. That includes taxes and shipping to my location. That final total will probably look different for you, especially if you're an international collector. So I think the big question here is, what will you be getting for this price point? Now, obviously, you're going to be getting an official NBA product that is accurate to whatever team roster the player is on currently. But what happens when that player is traded? We'll come back to that. Each player's likeness is captured with the photoreal technology, and the figures are scaled in 6-inch format, but from the banner that they showed, it does look like each character will have its own unique body proportions and height. The figure's on a 100% plastic mold, which means you won't be getting any softgoods uniforms, which would have been cool because let's say a player did get traded. It would be easy just to take those soft goods off and then swap it with whatever team that player possibly would have been traded to. They also might have been able to capitalize on selling individual soft good trade packs just to kind of update whatever team that player went to. It does look like a lot of attention was put into the details in the players' uniform, socks, and shoes. One of the subtle details that is missing is player-specific tattoos, which is an undertaking I don't think any company or any employee wants to take on. I also think that if it were included, it probably would have pushed the price point even higher than what it is now. Now, the shoes seem to be one of the highlights of these offerings because each player has their own signature shoe. One of the things that I'm very interested in is seeing how easily those shoes will be able to come off so the figure can possibly be used with other characters across other lines. Initially, I thought the head and neck wasn't going to be a combo, but it looks like in order to meet the premium articulation tag in the product description, the head and neck are separated, which adds more playability because you're going to be able to take those heads off and place them on other figures from other lines as well. The articulation does look like you're going to be able to get dynamic range out, so you can have some of those players in dynamic poses, and that should be able to put them in some of those poster shots because the range of motion is there. Hoop nuts! So as you can see, there's double jointed knees, elbows, bicep swivels, head and neck look like they're on two separate pegs, butterfly joints, and in the description it said that it will also come with some alternate hands. It will be interesting to see what the range of motion like is going to be in the ab and the chest area because the jersey is covering it. There aren't any visible cut points, so I don't know if that's a soft plastic good jersey and then they kind of sculpted like they do with the UFC fighters and it's under that jersey. I guess we'll just have to wait until we get it in hand. I think one of the things that collectors might bring up about the price point is that it would have been nice to have an alternative head. Maybe that had like a signature emotion, possibly a yelling, a smirk, or an intense focused head. Of course, if this line's successful, I'm pretty sure that's something they can implement in future offerings. What you're also going to get is a starting lineup stand, and you will also get an official licensed NBA ball that has the current commissioner's signature on it as well. Shout out to Adam Silver. Now, anyone familiar with the 1998 Kenner line will remember that each one of these players that you bought, you would get like a trading card. And Starting Lineup has decided to continue this tradition by offering you a Panini NFT trading card. Now, here's the catch. If the digital trading card is only valid for purchases from September 22nd, 2022 to April 30th, 2023, or while supplies last. Now, you have until December 31st, 2023 to redeem the card. So if you're like me and you used to leave your digital copies just hanging out in your entertainment stand, just sit there thinking, hey, I'll get around to it. Don't do that for this. And the reason why is because there's sort of like a tier limited availability on these cards. So you may open up your NFT card and you might get one of Jason Tatum gold cards. Or you might just get a common base card. There's also a red, blue, and green tier. And each one of those has a limited amount, like 1 per 200. I think this was done to kind of appeal to NFT collectors or traders. I don't know what they are, as well as trading card collectors. And the price point combined with this element is something that I think that's going to be very interesting to see how it plays out over the next couple years, if this line continues to go that long. In my opinion, it seems like a more premium line because the price point as well as this is something that could push it toward hardcore collectors and hardcore sports collectors, if that makes sense. Now, whether or not that price point pushes out casual collectors away is something that's going to remain to be seen. The initial feedback that I got from collectors is that they were going to start collecting this line, but the price point is just a little bit out of their reach. I think what you're going to see is a lot of casual collectors are probably going to buy the more high-profile characters, such as LeBron James or Steph Curry. No disrespect to the other characters in the lineup, but it does make me wonder if there's going to be a price point increase for the higher profile characters or the legacy characters such as Jordan, Ewing, Bird, Magic, Shaq, Isaiah Thomas, etc., etc., etc. When you think about it, there's literally limitless possibilities for this line. Now, looking at things objectively, of course, and from both sides, so be patient, we're going to get to both. I think the company's justification for this price point in this line will be because each one of these characters is pretty much its own unique sculpt because of the height and body differences. Now, that, of course, is something that we're going to have to wait until we get these figures in hand, but I am pretty sure that the NBA license as well as the team and player likenesses were also going to be a factor with all this. And again, each one of these shoes is different for each one of these characters, and they are also licensed products. So take, for instance, Jason Tatum. He has the Air Jordan 36 Nikes with the Taco J logo. Trae Young has the Adidas 1s with the Peachtree colorways. LeBron has his own LBJ 19s. This man is getting paid twice. Steph Curry is Under Armour Curry Flow 9s. Luka has the 36 Jordans. Giannis has the Nike Zoom 3 Greek Freaks. And Embiid has the Under Armour Embiid 1s. And of course, Ja is rocking the Air Zoom ZT runs. So there are 3 different shoe companies, and I'm sure that the license to obtain each one of those shoes as well as the different styles played a factor in the price point as well. Now, I've discussed this many times over the past year and a half, but pricing for collectors is going to be increased because of the material, the molds, the licenses, and the companies that they're trying to acquire to make a better overall product. Hear me out. Don't start flaming yet. The sticking point with all of this is that the cost is going to be passed on to the collector. Now, is this a line that a lot of people are going to collect? I'm not too sure. I think that it's the price point, maybe a little bit too much. Like I said, for the casual collector, I can see how the NBA fans wanting to get their favorite player and possibly cherry picking for the rest of the other ones for either maybe the heads or the shoes. Yep, that's right. You're going to see a lot of plastic sneakerheads running around. And with the new windowless packaging, I think that collectors are more likely going to try to order direct from the source. The last thing you want to do is kind of pick one of these up at retail and find out that the head and the shoes have been taken out. I do wonder how well this would have been received if they did use soft goods for the jerseys. You never know. It's something they could probably implement later on down the road. I guess it just depends on how successful the line goes. It's got to be difficult to kind of balance all this because essentially when we get the figures, you're going to be getting one, possibly two key players from each team. So if you're displaying or taking pictures, essentially it's going to boil down to like an all-star scenario, you know, like an all-star team, or there's going to be a lot of one-on-one matchups. It's still going to make for great photography, but I'm wondering how limited this is going to be. Maybe possibly they could do starting 5 box sets or dynasty teams like Chicago or Detroit or the Lakers. One of those like cemented teams in NBA history. That would make for some great shot displays as well. I'm not too sure what the price point would be for those sets because essentially, if you have 5 players at $50 a piece, you're going to be paying a lot of money unless they do some kind of bundling pricing, which I think would be a good idea. Another thing to consider with all this is that during the promo run, they also advertised a hoop and a portion of the court to be available. I'm not sure what the pricing is for that will be, but it's also something I think collectors should take into consideration as well with all of this. The good thing about all of this and collecting and in general is that they're options. So you can buy the whole wave and you can kind of pick and choose what players you like, or you can decide just not to support the line at all. Each one of those things has the cause and effect factor that companies need to be able to do to balance out this successful line while getting a good return on investment. Oh boy, here he goes. I told you I'm coming back to it. Be patient. But the return on investment also has to be in there for the collector as well. I'm an NBA fan, and from this wave, I can see the potential that there's a couple of characters that I'm definitely going to pick up. I also think that there's a delicate balance with all of this, and I do think that there's a way to be profitable as well as create like a successful fan base for this line, as well as a satisfied customer. Now, it's going to be interesting to see where this line goes, especially if they do give collectors the players that they really, really, really wanted to see. Air Morris.